Today I'm gonna show you how to draw faces and give you some tips that helped me a ton after practicing drawing for 7 years. Or at least how I practice drawing them in my sketchbook. In here I do some really quick, simple sketches, as you can see. And also really fast, just indicative sketches, or just to experiment and have fun. But I also try to put some more thought out drawings in here, like these faces. I've been actively practicing drawing for 7 years now, but drawing faces is something I still struggle with after all these years. Because I struggle with it, I didn't do it as often as I should have. But in order to get better, you just have to attack it head on, so let's go. With these drawings, I made it a little bit more difficult for myself than drawing faces already is. I went in directly with ballpoint pen, so no pencil underdrawing and little to no guidelines, since you can't erase ballpoint pen. This video is not that much focused on techniques. There are a ton of videos out there on techniques and complex rules and underdrawings. Of course, there are simple rules like the height of the eyes in relation to the ears and so on. These are good to remember and keep in mind when you're drawing, but don't approach it so academically. It's not it's not mathematics where you have to remember specific formulas. That's boring, dry and frustrating. I'm gonna give you tips outside of techniques. Like the first one right away is to just make it fun for yourself. Drawing people can be so frustrating because every small mistake is gonna be extremely heavy, because we humans immediately recognize when a face looks off or weird. So make it fun by drawing real people in real situations. What I mean is, don't seek out images that are meant specifically for you to draw. I assume all of you watch YouTube. Maybe you do, maybe you not, but you probably do, right? I know, I'm a genius. Or TV shows or movies. Pause them when you see an interesting shot of a character. Maybe with distinct or funny expressions. Or just in a really cool shot. Just take a picture with your phone and draw that. Boring still portraits intended as drawing reference, it's not really fun. Plus it's not organic. That's what I mean with real people in real situations. Pause a video or a movie where you can see people in the background doing something. Or the character doing something normal. Or being in some sort of movement or in a conversation. It's gonna give your drawings a certain flow and make them more fun to work with and approach. Tip number 2 is to just breathe, pause and relax. Take a step back. Think about what you're gonna place where, and don't frustrate yourself with too many guidelines and rules that end up frustrating and confusing you. Just look at your reference, it's right there. Slow and steady wins the race. Don't put pressure on yourself to have everything right. That's not fun. Mistakes are part of the progress. Seek out features that are important and just look and really think about where you're gonna place that. Without pressure, without fear of having a bad drawing. That eliminates the necessity of many guidelines. Use your brain as a guideline. Okay, train your eyes, train your brain. Instead of doing dozens of guidelines that are boring, tedious and that are restricting you. Again, there are some rules and guidelines when it comes to drawing human faces, and sometimes a few guidelines might be necessary and good, of course. Those rules are good to remember. But don't let them restrict your flow and fun by sticking to them religiously. Okay, so following up on that is tip number 3, light and shadow. Lighting is one of the rules that are important and should be kept in mind. Even if your proportions are a little bit off, good lighting can improve your drawing a lot. Notice on my drawings here how I emphasize the shadow on the lips, the chin and in the eye sockets. Most light is coming down from above and focusing on your shadows on these areas and not overshade the rest of your drawings can really make a difference. More than proportions, focus on where the light falls onto a human face. Look at people in real life, for example, or on screen. Proportions is something you will develop over time. Maybe you need a lot of guidelines in the beginning. That's not bad. As I said in the tips before, don't let them confuse you, don't let them get out of hand, but maybe you need them in the beginning a lot more, and that's alright. But over time, you will find you need less and less of them. So focus on learning light and shadow in the beginning also. Practice that. A feeling of proportions is something you will develop over time the more you practice. But really getting a sense from where light falls onto an object and where the shadow then falls is so important. And with human faces you can really play a lot around with that and have them look way better and three-dimensional even if your proportions are a little bit off. Okay, next tip number 4. These are not in any specific order, I should have said it in the beginning. They're all equally important. So tip number 4 is trust the shading more than the lines. Try to have as little sharp lines in your drawings as possible. Only in the most emphasized places where they are really necessary. On the face directly, avoid sharp lines as much as you can and work more with the shading. Sure, in my case, as you can see here, it's kind of difficult to do because I'm drawing with ballpoint pen, so soft shading is more difficult to achieve, and I can't erase lines that end up being too much, too dark or too sharp. Another perk of drawing with the ballpoint pen. It really makes you think twice before you draw. But yeah, try indicating shadows and features on the face more with shading and less with sharp lines. Regardless of how you shade, with graphite, charcoal or cross-hatching, like here in my case with the ballpoint pen. Okay, but to summarize, I think more important than anything is tip number 1. Just have fun, okay? Do some drawings that inspire you. Don't stick too much to the I need to get better, I need to practice, I need to improve here, I need to improve that. Tip number 1, think about that. Just have fun. Do some drawings on the side that are just fun to you. Look through my Instagram. Like the beginning of my Instagram, you can see so many drawings that are not really good. But they're just themes that I play around with and just have fun with. You know, a lot of horror stuff, a lot of fantasy, a lot of sci-fi stuff. Things that inspire me and that are just fun, you know. You can never not practice. Everything that you do in a topic that you want to get better at, like drawing, is practice, and you will get better with that. When you practice, stick to the basics, don't overcomplicate it. Okay, think about light, shadow, and shading. And of course, as a beginner, you will need some guidelines here and there. So only very simple guidelines. And the rest will come over time, okay? Don't stress. I know how it is when things don't work out the way you want them to with a drawing. I know how frustrating it is. I know how bad it can feel when you fail over and over again at drawing faces, for example. And I also still need to improve, obviously, but don't stress out about it. It will all come to you over time. You will develop your own approach. Okay? You will develop your own approach, how you do things, how things work for you. And you will just notice what works for you and what doesn't. What's a good approach for you and what's not. It will all come to you over time, the more you do. So don't stress out about it. Just have fun. Just fill up a few sketchbooks and sketch and draw what you see and what you think is fun and interesting, and make it a cool experience for yourself. Don't make it too, unless you really want to go to university or art school and study it, then yeah, it's a completely different story. But I'm self-taught. I never went to art school or university. I'm just a self-taught guy who just likes to draw and just wanted to get better at it and still want to get better at it. So it will all come to you over time. Don't stress, keep drawing, keep having fun with it. Enjoy the rest of this real-time drawing, okay? So the rest of the video is gonna be this drawing here in real time. If you have any questions, post a comment. I try to respond to everything. Post a comment. I will respond to you. If you have any ideas what you want to see, if there's anything you want to know, just shoot me a comment, okay? Subscribe, like. I'll see you at the end of the video, okay? And yeah, in a minute or two I will change the camera angle a little bit closer to the drawing so you can see a little bit better what I'm doing. Enjoy the rest of this drawing. Alright, so the end of the video is here. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, like. I hope I see you around on the channel. Check out my Instagram, check out my other videos, and take care, okay? Bye bye.